Hi dear students, today let us start a new chapter, Rational Numbers of Class 8th Mathematics. Let me give you an introduction to the chapter. In this chapter, we are going to study a new term which is what we call a rational number. In your previous classes, you have already dealt with fractional numbers, right? So actually this rational number is a typical type of fraction. It's also a fractional number itself, but there are some laws, there are some rules. Okay, we are going to discuss about those things in this chapter. In general, we will say a rational number is a number which can be written in the form a by b, small letter a divided by small letter b, a by b, where a and b are integers and b should not be equal to 0. That means if you are taking any number and if you can write by a by b form, you can see a by b. What does it mean by a by b? A number with a numerator and a denominator. You studied this one, something like a fraction, right? In your previous classes in 6th class, 7th class, when you are dealing with fractions, this was the same thing which you studied. Now there will be a doubt inside your mind. What is it what we call a rational number? What is the difference between fraction and rational numbers? Come on, let us get into that one. So any number which can be written by the form a by b is what we call a rational number. And one more thing, a and b should be integers and the denominator part b should not be equal to 0. Only keep this much. If you are studying this statement also, it's good for you, but you must have the idea behind this one. What is the idea? Any number, if you write 1 by 2, 3 by 4, 7 by 8, all these numbers are what we call rational numbers. Why? It can be written by the form a by b and the denominator part, that means the b, it's not equal to 0. It should not be equal to 0 because if the denominator is equal to 0, it's not defined. We can't divide it because the multiplication table of 0 is not there. So we are not supposed to divide it, right? So that's why it's not possible. See, regarding fraction, we know something. What is a fraction? It's a part of something, right? If you are having a hole in your hand, just imagine that you are having a cake and I am asking you a part of that cake. So you may be giving half of the cake. That means 1 by 2 the portion of the cake, or you might be giving 1 by 4 of that cake. Means it's also a portion. A hole is there in your hand and you are cutting that into portions and you are giving me one small piece. So we can say fraction means it is a piece, right? It is a part of a whole. A whole thing is there and you are giving a part. If 1 by 4, what does it mean? Out of 4 parts, 1 part. 2 by 4, what does it mean? Out of 4 parts, 2 parts. 3 by 4 means out of the total 4, means one thing was given to you and you made it into 4 equal parts. And then 3 by 4 means the 3 by 4th part, means 3 pieces out of the 4 pieces which you have made. This is the idea behind a fraction. Hope you understood that one, right? Okay, coming back to our topic. So any number which can be written by the form a by b is what we call rational numbers. There are two typical type of rational numbers. One is positive rational number and the another one will be obviously negative rational number. What does it mean by positive rational number? Means both the numerator and denominator should be positive or both the numerator and denominator should be negative. That means if the numerator and denominator are having the same sign, clear? If the numerator and the denominator are having the same sign, means both of them can be positive, both of them can be negative. And that is what we call the positive rational number. Then what will be negative rational number? What does it mean by negative rational number? Negative rational number means any one of them can be negative, or in other words we can say a rational number in which the numerator and the denominator are having opposite signs. Means if the numerator is positive, the denominator should be negative, and if the denominator is positive, the numerator should be negative. This means the signs are opposite to each other. That typical rational number is what we call a negative rational number. Now let me talk about properties of rational numbers. There are three main properties of rational numbers. Let us go to that one. Let a by b be a rational number. Okay, in general we are using a by b. Okay, so let a by b be a rational number, and let small letter m, let m be any non-zero integer. It may be any integer, it should not be 0, that's all. If m is a non-zero integer, then a by b is equal to a multiplied by m divided by b multiplied by m. That is the first property. You might not understood what I have said right now, because it's totally full of statements. Just in a simple way, let me explain that one. If you are taking a rational number, here it is a by b, and if you are taking a non-zero integer m, okay, a non-zero integer m, it can be positive, it can be negative, it should not be 0, that's it. So if you are taking a non-zero integer, here it is m, in this case it was m, and if you are multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number, here you can see a into m by b into m, means in the fraction, on the numerator part and in the denominator part, if you are multiplying it by the same number, the value of the fraction doesn't change, means a by b remains constant, the value will not change. Okay, the value will never change. That is the first property. Now coming to the second property. Now I told about multiplication, let us come to division. That is the second property. Same statement, let a by b be any rational number and m be a common divisor of a and b, means this m should be divisible by a and this m should be divisible by b also. In that case, a by b will be equal to a divided by m divided by b divided by m. That means, if again in the first case I told you, if you are taking a number and that number should not be 0, that's it, the number should not be 0 and it can be any other integer rather than 0, other than 0 it can be any other integer. You can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. If you are multiplying by the same number, the value of the given fraction doesn't change. Again, right now in the second property I told you, what is the second property? Again, in the same like that, same just as we told about multiplication, in division also the same rule follows. That means, if a particular number is divisible by both the numerator and the denominator, if a number is divisible by both the denominator and the numerator, then you can write like this: a by b is equal to a divided by m divided by b divided by m. Means you can divide the numerator and the denominator by that same number. In this case also the value of the fraction doesn't change. See, in general, let me give you an example. If there are two kids in a home, okay, just imagine you and your sister or you and your brother, there are two of them in a house. Okay, so your dad came to your home after his job and he gave 3 chocolates to you and 3 chocolates to your sister. Will there be any quarreling between them? No, because the total 6 chocolates which he brought was equally divided, 3 for this guy and 3 for that. It means 1/2 for this person, 1/2 for that girl also. For both of them he divided equally, the father divided equally. And in the same case, again his mother also came to that home. His mother also came and she also brought two chocolates, means totally 4 chocolates he also bought, and 2 she gave it to the brother and 2 she gave it to the sister. Will there be any quarreling? No. Why? Again they are equally divided, so there will be no quarreling, right? But in that case, just imagine, mother bought 4 chocolates, she gave only 1 to the brother and 3 to the sister. You can just imagine what is going to happen after a fraction of a second, right? Why? Quarrel will happen. Obviously quarrel will happen there. Why? Because they were not equally divided. If you are giving 2 to him, you should give 2 to her also, so that the fraction remains same. I hope you got the idea. If the fraction should remain same, you have to multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. Also, in the second property we can say that if any number is divisible by the numerator and the denominator, means if it is a common divisor of the numerator and of the denominator, then definitely you can divide both the numerator and denominator by the same number, so that there will be no any changes in the given fraction. Is that clear? Okay, when we are doing some sums, we will get into that one. You can understand that one more clearly. Okay, going to the third property. But before going to the third property, let me tell about the standard form of a rational number. For any rational number, right now I told you what a rational number is, but for a rational number there is a standard form. There is a way how to represent a rational number, what it is. I will give you the point, just listen to this one. First of all, a and b, that means the numerator and the denominator should be integers. That is the first thing. The numerator and the denominator means a and b, small letter a and small letter b, they should be integers. That is point number one. Second thing, there should not be any common divisor other than 1. If you are taking any fraction, there should not be any common divisor. In other words, we can say the numbers should be coprimes. That is the typical word, coprimes. You will study in your 9th class regarding that term. Means they should not have any common divisor. That is the second thing which should be noted. Third thing, the denominator part, that means the b should be positive. So number 1, a and b should be integers. Number 2, there should not be any common divisor other than 1. Means you should make it to the simplest form. You should make the fraction into the simplest form. That is the second thing. Third one, the denominator should be always positive. It should not be a negative. If you are seeing a negative number on the denominator part, you have to make it into positive. Okay, we are going to deal with that one right now in the next exercise. And finally, the third property. If a by b and c by d are two rational numbers, means two different, one is a by b, another one is c by d, and a condition is also given. What is the condition? If a by b is equal to c by d, a by b and c by d are also equal, means both of the fractions, actually the numbers are different, a by b, another one is c by d, but they are equal. If it is written like this, a by b is equal to c by d, then in this case, if both fractions, if two different fractions are given that they are equal to each other, then in that case AD is equal to BC, means A into D, the numerator of the first one and the denominator of the second fraction will be equal to the product of the second one. What is the second product? The numerator of the second fraction multiplied by denominator of the first fraction, means just like this. This is what we call cross multiplication. This typical type of multiplication, multiplying the numerator of the first fraction by the denominator of the second fraction, will be equal to the product of these two numbers, means the numerator of the second fraction multiplied by the denominator of the first fraction. Means we can say, in other words, A into D is equal to B into C. Clear? These are the three main properties regarding rational numbers. Now, if two rational numbers are given in front of you, how can you compare them and say which one is greater, which one is smaller? Comparison of rational numbers. One thing is very clear, every positive rational number is greater than 0, and at the same time every negative rational number will be less than 0. That means the value of the negative rational number will be always less than 0, whereas the value of the positive rational number will be greater than 0, because positive means greater than 0, negative means less than 0. That's it. Keeping this into mind, let us go into the topic of comparison of rational number, how to compare the rational numbers. There are some general methods how to compare rational numbers. I will give you one by one. Listen to this. Point number 1. Express each of the given rational number in such a way that the denominator should be positive. Clear? The denominator should be positive. That is the first thing to be noticed. Second one, take the LCM of the denominators. If 2 or 3 of 2 or more than 2, okay, fractions are given for you to compare which one is bigger, which one is smaller. What you have to do? First one, you have to check whether the denominator is positive. If not, you have to make it as positive. That is the first thing. Second thing, you have to find the LCM of all the given rational numbers. LCM of the given rational number. Third point, express each of these rational numbers with the LCM as common denominator. Means now you can see, if we are taking 3 or 4, okay, at least 2 of any rational numbers, the denominator may be different, right? If they are different, you have to find the LCM. Then thereafter you have to make both of these fractions or both of these rational numbers denominator in such a way that both of them will have the same denominator and it should be the LCM itself. Okay, and the final point to be noticed is after these steps, after these three steps, the fourth step, just check the numerator portions, and which numerator is the greater one, that will be the greater rational number. Okay, now let us do some examples and you will find it out how to do it. Here it is, one example before you. Which of this rational number is greater, 3 by minus 4 or minus 5 by 6? 3 by minus 4, is it in the standard way? 3 by minus 4, you can see a negative number on the denominator. There should not be a negative number on the denominator. That was the first thing which I told. So what you have to do here, first of all, let us pick that one. First number, one number is equal to 3 by minus 4 is equal to, multiply the numerator and denominator by minus 1. Okay, I told you earlier when we was discussing about the properties, you can multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number so that there will be no difference. Okay, so that the value of the fraction will never change. So here, so as to make the denominator negative, we have to make the denominator positive, not negative, I'm sorry. So as to make the denominator positive, we have to make the denominator positive. So here you can see it's a negative number. What is it? It's minus 4. So if you are multiplying this minus 4 by minus 1, this will become plus 4, right? So we are multiplying it by minus 1. I told you, if you are multiplying the denominator by a number, you have to multiply the numerator also by the same number. Just remember the case of chocolates which I told. You have to equally distribute them, right? So here, if you are multiplying the denominator by minus 1, you have to multiply the numerator also by the same number itself. Okay, so multiplying the numerator and denominator by minus 1, what you will get? 3 by minus 4 will be equal to minus 3 divided by 4. Right now, you can see what is the change? The denominator became a positive number, but the value of the number didn't change. It's minus 3 by 4 itself. Okay, what about the second number? It's in the general form, right? Minus 5 by 6, it's in the general form. Now, you got two numbers here. One is minus 3 by 4, second one is minus 5 by 6. Now let us compare. Can you compare? What is the second step? Check out the denominators. Are they equal? If they are equal, okay, we can directly go to the last step. Checking the numerators, we can come to the conclusion. But here, you can see the denominator part are different. In the first one, you can see the denominator is 4. In the second case, you can see the denominator is 6. So what should we do? We have to find the LCM. So LCM of 4 and 6. What is the LCM of 4 and 6? Find it. You will get it as 12. You already studied that in your 6th and 7th classes, how to find the LCM, right? So it was very easy. Okay, so the LCM of 4 and 6, it is 12. So now you got the LCM as 12. What is the next step? Next step means you have to make this both fractions in such a way that both of them should have this same LCM as their denominators. That means both of this fraction should have 12 as their denominators. Now let us pick up the first fraction. What is the first fraction? Minus 3 by 4. Here 4 is the denominator. So tell me, by which number should be this 4 multiplied so that it will become 12? 4 into 3, right? 4 3s are 12. That means you have to multiply the denominator by 3. So that we will write 4 into 3. On the denominator part, we will write 4 into 3. I told you, if you are multiplying the denominator by any number, you have to multiply the numerator also by the same number so that there will be no quarreling, right? Or in mathematical terms, we can say there will be no change in value. Okay, so you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 3. So how to understand by which number? First of all, check the denominator, and you have to make the denominator same as that of the LCM. LCM here is 12. So in order to make 3 as 12, you have to multiply it by 3. Here the denominator is 4. So in order to make this 4 as 12, you have to multiply it by 3. So that's why you are multiplying the numerator as well as the denominator by the same number 3 itself. So minus 3 into 3 is minus 3 into 3, and on the denominator 4 into 3. That will be equal to minus 9 by 12. You got the first fraction. Let us take the second one. What is the second one? It is minus 5 by 6. Here the denominator, always focus on the denominator part. Here the denominator is 6. You have to make it to 12. By which number should be 6 multiplied so that it will become 12? it's 2. 6 2s are 12, right? So we have to multiply the denominator by 2. If you want to multiply the denominator by 2, you have to multiply the numerator also by the same number 2 itself. So we will write minus 5 into 2 divided by 6 into 2. Now tell me minus 5 into 2. It is minus 10 by 12. Minus 10 divided by 12. Now you got two numbers. One is minus 9 by 12. Another one is minus 10 by 12. Minus 9, minus 10. Now check only on the new, because already the denominator are equal. Now check on the numerators. Minus 10, minus 9. Which is the bigger one? Minus 9 is bigger, right? Than minus 10. Minus 10 is much slower. Just imagine the number line in your mind. You can understand that minus 10 is much far away from 0. It's very, very less. Lesser than minus 9. So we can say minus 9 is bigger than minus 10. Therefore, what can we conclude? Minus 9 by 12 will be greater than minus 10 by 12. But this wasn't our question. Was this our question? Is minus 9 by 12 greater than minus 10 by 12? No. So let us bring back to our question. What is actually minus 9 by 12? What is it? Actually that is minus 3 by 4. Right? So we will write, therefore this implies, or thus we can say minus 3 by 4 will be greater than, what is the second term? Minus 5 by 6. Clear? Like this we will conclude. Forget not, whenever you are concluding, you conclude regarding your question. What is the question mentioned? What is the problem given to you? And regarding that same problem, you have to conclude it. Not like the equivalent fraction. Here you got equivalent fractions. Minus 3 by 4. You got an equivalent fraction, minus 9 by 12. For 5, minus 5 by 6, you got another equivalent fraction, minus 10 by 12. But don't compare the equivalent fractions towards the final. When you're coming to the last line, you have to conclude regarding your question. What is the thing mentioned in your question? Bring that same thing on the case and complete. This is the way how to compare two given rational numbers. Is that clear? So hope you understood the class. That's all for today. Meet you in the next class. Till then, take care and goodbye.